Well, greetings, boys and girls. Pastor Todd here. Now would be a great time to gather around because today I want to ask you a question and then I want to share something with you. So first, the question: what am I holding in my hands? Any guesses? It may look like a piece of paper, but for moms and dads and grandpas and grandmas around the world, we recognize something like this to be a coffee filter. And a coffee filter does an amazing job. You see, we put coffee grounds into it, and then we pour hot water through the coffee grounds, and the filter keeps the coffee grounds from getting into our delicious cup of coffee, which I know moms and dads and grandpas and grandmas around the world really enjoy, specifically in the morning. But I also know that they do not enjoy getting the coffee grounds into a cup of coffee and specifically into their mouth, because that's gross. So when I was thinking about filters, I realized there's a bunch of filters we have around. We have them in our house to protect our furnace. We have them in our cars to help them run better, and on the list goes. And then I started thinking, you know what? You and I, we need to be good filters too. Specifically, we need to filter things that we see, filter things that we hear, and even filter things that we think with our minds. So imagine a scenario where you see something take place that is mean to somebody else. And the question I have for you is, would you do that? Of course not, right? You know to love God and love others. We don't want to do mean things to other people. And so then I start thinking, sometimes all of us hear things that are mean. And again, the same question: does that mean just because we hear a mean word or a mean thing said, do we say it? Of course not, right? But then there's another category of things that we shouldn't be thinking about when they get in our minds. And it made me think of a question: how do we filter things out of our minds and our eyes and our ears? And I realized from a long time ago, taught by my grandpa to me, that we protect ourselves by God's word, and that is the Bible. So we want to use the Bible to teach us how to protect our eyes, to protect our ears, and to protect our minds. Now this week in our reading plan, a lot of the grown-ups have been reading Psalm 119 all week, and it is a long chapter. Matter of fact, it's the longest chapter in the Bible, but it's a really good chapter because it's about God's Word. There's a couple of those verses I've memorized in my own heart, and I want to share them with you now. One is a question that the psalmist asked, and he said, "How does a young man keep his way pure? By guarding it according to your word." Now, when he says a young man, boys and girls, that also means you little girls out there too, right? Of all ages. We all need to guard our hearts with God's word. And later on, he even says, "I have stored up your word in my heart that I might not sin against you." So again, he's talking specifically to God. And so my encouragement to you today is that memorizing God's word in our heart is not only our duty, but it's also our delight. And so we should be really excited for the opportunity to memorize God's word. And I know a lot of you are doing just that. So I want to read one verse in closing with you today from Philippians 4, because it gives us some really good guidance on how we should filter things out in this world. And so listen to Philippians 4, verse 8 as we close our time together today. "Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things." Boys and girls, we should think about the things that God has taught us. And again, memorizing God's word in our heart is not just our duty, it's our delight. So I hope until next time, you guys do a good job of being filters and keeping out all the things in the world that don't belong in your hearts and your minds, and realize that the best way to do that is guarding your hearts and your minds according to God's word. So until next time, bye-bye.